All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this Celigo user group. I'm Corey Anderson. I'll be the host of the meeting today. I just have a quick introduction, a few slides here that I'm going to go through, just talk about the user group, and then introduce our speakers for the day. So I'll just go ahead and jump into that right now. First of all, see our website, celigousergroup.com. We list out our upcoming meetings and our past meeting recordings. So every meeting that we do for the user group, we will record, and it'll be available to anybody to watch at any point in the future, using YouTube to host those videos and then just stream them on our website. So go to celigousergroup.com and you can see all of our past information there. Also, you can have your colleagues. If you know of anybody that is not here today or hasn't registered today or doesn't know about the user group, you can send them to the website and they can sign up on our contact page. That'll ensure they get added to our email list so they get notifications of upcoming meetings and then anything else that we're going to do in the future. Our current meeting frequency is quarterly, so we're going to try and do this 4 times a year. We may add in a couple of extras here and there based on different topics, but that's the current plan. One thing that we're very interested in is your ideas for future meeting content, or I'm sorry, content. I want to know what everybody wants to hear, what you're interested in learning more about, and we'll try and line up subject matter experts for that specific content. And so, speaking of which, we're also going to be looking for subject matter experts to present in the future. So, right today we have speakers from Celigo, but that is not our plan to do every single time. If there's anybody that's a member, that's an everyday end user and is interested in presenting to the group, we definitely are here for the group. And I'd like to know if you are interested in presenting in the future. At the end of our meeting, we're going to hold an open forum, and that open forum is a place to ask questions of the group. We typically have a couple of people here from Celigo sticking around to answer questions or chat with the group, but we're also here to help support each other. The idea is that we are all users of Celigo and we have different experiences, and so we can help each other with questions and problems that you're having. We're going to send a post-meeting survey. So again, please let us know what topics that you'd like to learn more about, and we definitely will keep a list of those recommendations. And then also, if you would be interested in presenting to the group, we want to know that as well. And if you're brand new to Celigo, you can try Celigo for free if you haven't used it before. You go to celigo.com and there's a try for free button. At least the last time I checked. I hope that's still there. And you can just sign up for an account and tour the platform, get a free demo account, and check things out. I'd also like to point out that the Celigo user group is an independent organization, and we wish to thank Celigo for their support. We are independent, and Celigo has done a lot to support us so far, and we really, really appreciate that. As we grow this group, it's really helpful to have Celigo support behind us so we can get the word out to more and more users and get people to join the group and be active members. Oops. Looks like it went backwards. Okay, so with that, I will not delay anymore. I'm going to introduce our 2 speakers for today. First of all, we have Rico Andrade. He's the general manager of commercial at Celigo. And then Youssef. And Youssef, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I don't want to butcher it. So I'll let you tell everybody how to pronounce your last name at the beginning of your presentation. Youssef is a senior solutions consultant who I've been working with at Celigo for several years now and really on top of his game in the AI world. So again, thank you to Celigo for your support. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you, Rico.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Corey. Great to be here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm calling from Celigo Global Headquarters in Redwood Shores, California. Long-time Celigan, been here for almost 10 years. Yeah, very excited to support, this growing user group. And I wanted to share a little bit, kind of set up, because then we're going to get really in the weeds here in terms of some of the things that can be done with Celigo, with Youssef, and supported also by Kevin Shaw, and another solution on our team was on the call as well. But for those of you who've been following Celigo over the last few years, we have really matured as a platform, where all of a sudden we become one of the largest and most important iPaaS companies in the world. And whereas previously, perhaps, folks had a specific perception of Celigo, today Celigo is an enterprise solution that is used by thousands of customers across all different sizes, verticals, industries, applications, across the board. Um, and we have matured. We don't just do application integration, but we also do. Now we have an amazing EDI, B2B solution that especially for folks who are maybe frustrated with some of the EDI services out there, managed services out there, and they want a little bit more control of their own destiny. So Lego has been a great solution for that. We have API management, world-class API management, API building solutions. We launched data ingestion, ELT, TL type services solution as well. And the most exciting part is AI and the ability to build agentic flows and so on. And it's something that's obviously a really, really hot topic. I mean, it's completely changed, our focus, our roadmap. We are in the center of the AI storm, especially because AI needs a lot of data to do its job, and we are in that business of getting the data where it needs to be. So, so I'm going to be sharing some information on this. By the way, since there are folks who are, oh, thank you, Youssef. why speak to it when there's a slide that can speak to that. And by the way, since this is not a NetSuite centric user group, but because there are a larger number of NetSuite customers here, we also own the Cloud Extend set of tools that enable you to integrate with tools like Gmail, Microsoft Tools, Outlook, Google Calendar, SharePoint, etc., Excel. But today we're going to focus on AI, and I'm gonna start by kind of setting the stage in terms of how we think about AI and what we're seeing on the ground in terms of what does it actually mean to operationalize AI. And in the process too, we're going to share in depth some of the tools that we use and how we actually leverage AI within our tool, within our platform itself to help you build integrations, to help you manage integrations, troubleshoot integrations, and so on. Ranging from our Ora solution that allows you to build integrations and using natural language within the product, all the way to our command line interface or CLI tool, which is just absolutely game changer if you're a developer or if you like using tools like Codex or Cloud Code and so on to build integrations. So with that, let me do a quick overview on the AI front. And then I will pass it on to Youssef to go in a lot more detail. And like Corey mentioned, if there's anything specific that, this should be an interactive session. So if there are any questions or anything like that, let us know, and we're happy to have that discussion here. So, all right. So, as I mentioned, there's AI is just at the forefront of what we do right now. I mean, it is just a massive, massive component. And the two areas that we're going to talk about today is where AI can help you accelerate, improve the development and the management of your integrations. And that includes tools like Ora and CLI. And we're also going to talk about a very separate but important area in terms of how you can use a Celigo to build agentic flows, agentic functionality within the organization, and some clarity in terms of like where Celigo fits in versus why not just use Claude or so on, because it actually all works out together. So I think the very, very first conversation, for us to have here is, Celigo is an iPaaS integration automation platform, right? To automate all your processes. And then there's the AI component to it. And I want to provide some clarity in terms of not just how the two work together, but really how critical it is to have them work together to be able to scale agentic processes and enable them to, be, with the proper governance, with the proper consistency, with the, with minimizing, token costs and so on. So they really, really work well together. And in essence, it's that the iPaaS is bringing the deterministic aspect of it, and it's marrying it with the agentic aspect of it. And I'll talk a little bit about like, where do these two fit together. So when we speak with customers and partners and so on, this is how people, often the conversation is, how people think about AI, that it's the it's just this magical black box, that you put an input, something happens, and then you put an output, and you get an output. And like as a simple point to this, you get customers saying, "Hey, I have Claude. I can just connect all my applications to it. Why do I need something like Celigo?" Or there's some question in terms of like, well, I got NetSuite Next. If you're a NetSuite user, NetSuite MCP, I got Agentforce, I got Microsoft Copilot, so why would I need something like Celigo? The reality of it is those tools are amazing, and they have their role. But once you're dealing with processes that need to be completely repeatable, they need to be uh, reliable. They need to have a level of governance. Really, what you want to do is, so much of these processes, the majority of it actually can happen deterministically, meaning that there is a certain flow to it. And then what you want to do is just identify the areas where you can surgically insert the agentic functionality, because what does that do, right? That, number one, if you're doing everything agentically, every single step of every single process, you're maximizing the chance of hallucination, you're maximizing the chance for error, you're minimizing I had a customer who described it as you're YOLOing it, because you don't necessarily know like how the output is going to be. You can't really set the governance. It can get pretty expensive. Sometimes the AI will just choke because you're dealing with so much data, right? And so the art of it is really identifying like what aspects of it can be happening deterministically and only insert the agentic functionality where it's needed. And so in essence, right? And so when someone says like, well, I can just put everything in Claude Code and deal with that, right? So if you do that, if you're doing 100% of the process start to finish on the with something like Claude or other tools and so on, what happens? Number one, it's very slow. Number two, it can get very expensive. And you can see, there's lots of headlines out there in terms of like the token costs that, Uber went over their entire AI budget in, one quarter. And in their case, we're talking millions of dollars because, essentially there's no governance on that front. They're just using the AI as is, right? Often it's too much data, right? That like, the more data you have, like it's harder for the, AI to process it. It's very hard to maintain it and keep it consistent. When I build things in Claude, I may have a prompt that's supposed to, repeat something every single day. Maybe the end result would be the same, but like the format in which it gives, there's always these variants, so it's pretty inconsistent. It's very hard to govern because with so many steps, like where is it that errors, can fluctuate? Is there something that you can really calibrate? Is there areas that really need, maybe a human in the loop or other guardrails that you put around it? So it's hard to put that guardrail if it's not really solidified, and it just increases the chances of hallucinations and error and so on. And that's where essentially like the marriage between iPaaS and AI fits in. And we're going to talk specifically about some of the flows and how to insert that here, and where Celigo comes into the issue, because it really helps us out. So that's something that we've learned, right? In terms of there's so many people who are doing AI projects and they tend to fail. We have a survey that we did with MIT that we're happy to send out here that highlights that the majority of the AI projects fail in terms of ROI, but the ones that do succeed really approach it this way, so that you can take these processes that are usually experimented individually on the cloud level, and then you make them scalable, for the entire enterprise. The second element is that you don't want to fragment your AI strategy, and this is something that we see a lot. And so I'm going to use again the NetSuite use case because we do see this as a question a lot. It's like, oh, I can just use NetSuite Next, NetSuite MCP, and so on. And this again, these are great pieces of functionality that you can use, but it's very much about interfacing specifically with that application data, and so the first problem that we run into is like, not only are you just focusing on that specific application data, but you're also having a separate interface with every single different application, right? With Salesforce, you're using Agentforce. With Microsoft, you're just using a Microsoft Copilot and so on. And what you're missing is really like one of the big opportunities of AI right now is the ability to be able to build agentic functionality that leverages data from all sorts of different applications, right? And that's something that we've seen a lot too, is that and I'm going to show you some real examples of what's on the ground that really helps orchestrate the entire agentic functionality, across the different applications and the value that you get from those specific type of flows. And then the last item in terms of just a suggestion for how to get to adoption is that you don't want to start with like, hey, here's some new AI functionality you can bring in. Like the best way to start and really get adoption at an organization is to start looking at the existing processes that exist, and then look at where there are areas to improve those particular processes and automate, certain aspects of the processes at the level where there is, let's say, a lot of data that needs to be sorted, some unstructured data, some qualitative decision making, and so on that needs to happen at that level. That will then improve the entire process, right? And so I'm going to run quickly through a couple real examples just to kind of spur some ideas, including I'm going to share a little bit of what's under the hood at Celigo with some real flows that we have built ourselves in the finance team to give you a sense of how this all works. And then I'll pass it to Youssef to actually go into the technical details of how this makes it all happen. But these are some example live use cases with some of our customers in terms of AR inquiries and customer 360 and fulfillment responses and so on the agentic side. But let me speak a little bit specifically about Celigo. So Celigo has completely changed in terms of how we operate our own company, and how much of our business is run through agentic flows. And so I'm going to run through a couple examples. Hopefully it'll spur some ideas, and then let's discuss here. But sorry again that these are NetSuite examples, but we do use NetSuite internally, so they're hired. They're shown here. But if I were to start with like just one single use case that really gets people to start understanding the value of an agentic flow within their organization, this is the use case right here. This AR answer agent. What this is it's a pretty trivial agent to implement. And essentially it's an email listener, right? Every single company has that info at AR at email where they're constantly having to answer questions about, where's my invoice? Where's my, W-2, whatever it is, right? And normally there's a human being who's there, who's making sense of it and, pulling the right information and then sending it. And what this is this is an agent that is looking at, listening to that particular email. It makes sense of what the email is saying, and then based off of that information, it drafts a response. It goes into the systems of record, right? In this case, let's say it's NetSuite. It looks at the right information. It pulls out a PDF, the invoice. It adds it as an attachment, and so on. It could respond automatically, but in terms of being able to set the governance, what our finance team requested is that it goes into a draft inbox, and then in the morning, the finance team goes in. They do the final validation check on the email, and then it send it out. And maybe in 6 months it'll go automatic, but the team right now wants to add that human in the loop governance and double check all this. But the reason why this is so eye-opening for folks is that this really saves hours of work, right? Because you got someone there who's having to look at the email, make sense of it, pull the right systems, export it, everything, right? And now all they need to do, like that work is already done. They just need to make sure that it's okay and send out, and you can shift those resources, elsewhere, right? And now they start seeing, oh, okay, then can we automate this? Can we automate this? And by the way, we had another customer who looked at this and said, we get our B2B orders by email. They're all over the place. They get these attachments and POs. Sometimes it's wrong. Now they put an email listener to it, that takes that unstructured data, makes it as a structured order, and then the rest of the order gets passed on deterministically through the order, through the fulfillment process, just like it would if it would have been a Shopify order or something like that. But then, we the additional agents, you got order review agents, right? Did the order come in? Did it meet, certain standards, certain requirements? Instead of having someone that's double checking everything, the agent, does it the first pass at it. A collections agent, right? If an account is several months overdue, it does the research, it pulls together, it drafts an email with all the information, with all the documentation, and then someone decides, okay, should we send it out or not? But it just it gets created automatically. T&E inquiry agent, does this meet our policy? This is, for us, this is a Slack interface. It could be a Teams interface or something like that, where anyone at the company can ask about questions for T&E. And at this point on Slack, I mean, we probably have 100 agent within Slack, with different purposes, where any team member from Celigo can go in and ask questions. And it could be about internal Celigo questions. It could be about product troubleshooting. It could be about customer case studies, use cases, and so on, just massively accelerating what they're doing. Expense approval agents, user provisioning upgrades, AP invoice, and now even it's not we have this whole pipeline of other things that we're building too. That, I mean, all of this is eminent to be delivered because these are high priority now. And not just on the company workflows, there's individual workflows too, where things that our finance folks are doing repeatedly like that. Now there's an agent that is assisting them, so that they don't have to keep building this over and over. And this has completely changed even how we see the organization. It's not just that now, it's a traditional finance org. It's a AI augmented finance org, in which much of the function is done autonomously, through these agents that we've built, and supplementing the work that the humans are doing, so that they can focus on the much more strategic initiatives that we're doing at a bigger level. So our organization is different because that's how we've been approaching AI, and we're doing the best we can to make sure that our customers are accessible to the things that we've been building externally as well. So I'm going to stop here to see if there's any questions on this. I'm curious if anyone's, running into some of these issues and so on. And if there's any questions, I'll pass it on to Youssef to take it from here.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rico. Hello, everyone. My name is Youssef Zouhairi. That's how I pronounce it, Zouhairi. So I'm one of the senior solution consultants here at Celigo. So happy to be with you here. I think Rico gave us like a very good overview of how we see AI in Celigo in general. What I will try to do today is basically to go to the technical level and show you other aspects of how we build these agents. So you've seen like tons of use cases that we have there. We have like a specific team internally in Celigo building these agents. And the AI journey was like progressive. I would say like every time we kept like trying to catch up a little bit with what the progress that the AI is doing, the generative AI since 2022. So we started at the very beginning with things where you have like flows and you have like calls with API calls to just like OpenAI, Anthropic Gemini, and then we moved from there to adding like the Slack layer, and at some point we had like some clear business processes that we wanted to augment with the AI, and we had to build like agents on that top. So now with the latest, I would say, addition to our platform with the AI agents, MCP servers, that team now is focusing on building AI agents in the platform. and MCP servers for the users in Celigo. So our users, which are like the employees in general, to be able to use AI. So I will share my screen. And I will try to like yeah, this is basically the slide. I think that it's very we are not just the integration platform. We do EDI, we do API management. So this is the latest edition, the data ingestion. And I think Rico at the beginning he mentioned something very important. And one of the slides we see the AI two aspects. The first one is basically the AI that can help you with building integrations and help you like do things like Ora, Celigo CLI. The second aspect is AI that can be embedded in your business processes, right? Now, based on our experience, I think the last few years, we've seen that a third aspect is very important, which is like preparing that foundation for the AI. And when I say the foundation is the data, so everything that you do with the AI is usually by connecting to business systems. At some point you will need to build the foundation for that AI, which is like some types of like data warehouse or data lake, where you can aggregate or like do some cleanup of your data for that data warehouse. And this is where this new solution, the data ingestion, and I will give you like a sneak peek today of this new addition to the platform, can help you sync your business system data into your data warehouse or data lake so that you can prepare that data warehouse for the AI to go on the top of it and use it. So yeah, so this is a very important one here. And yeah, let's go now to the platform. And again, as I said, three aspects. The first one is how the AI that can help you build integrations, implement integrations, and not only build and implement, but maintain and monitor your integrations. One of them is Celigo Ora. So this is different from for those who were using like Celigo for a long time. At some point, I think you saw Celigo Copilot. Aura is different from Copilot. Copilot was kind of like a chatbot where you are sending like a request or like you ask something, and in the backend, what we do is we respond like with an answer. We gather, it's usually some type of RAG, retrieval augmented generation in the backend, where we retrieve knowledge from our documentation, for example, and we reply to your answer, to your request with an answer, right? That was just a chatbot. Aura is different. Aura it's actually an agent on the top of the platform, and that agent has 23 sub agents specialized in different things in the platform. You will see one agent for sub agent, for example, specialized in errors and error management. Another one specialized in building like connections. A third one building like doing different things. And the master agent, which is the main agent that you are talking to, is delegating those tasks to the sub agents that we have. And we keep adding those sub agents. We keep adding specialized sub agents to the platform so that the platform so that Aura can be, Celigo Aura can be able to do a lot of things that we can do, like anything that you can do like manually in the platform, you can do it actually in natural language. One of the main use cases, and I think it's the troubleshooting, right? So the maintenance and the monitoring of the platform. So you can at any time point to any errors that you have there. Hopefully these are relevant errors. Let's see. So we have like an error here. If I click on it, this is not a good one. Let me see if I have trying to find one that can be used. HubSpot contacts. 1 second. So it's the second one maybe here. Yeah, so this is a very good error to demonstrate what we can do. So with Aura, you could at any time open the Aura, right? And start a conversation about those errors, like saying, how can I solve this error? Like this one, and I can say, how can I solve this error. What will happen now is Ora, because it's context aware, it knows exactly what I'm looking at, knows that we are looking at this message, error message, knows what is the data that was used here, the classification of error, because this is very important. And by the way, this is like one of the things that Celigo did very early at the AI on the AI side, which is like classifying, categorizing all the errors so that we can auto-resolve the maximum of errors without human intervention. And based on that, Aura will know exactly, will be able to do like, again, a RAG against like our documentation, about knowledge base, about like the documentation of the systems, for example, here Snowflake, and then get back to me with a response and explain to me what this error is doing. So I could like maybe solve this error, probably not, because it's a value one. It means that it needs some intervention from probably like the source and change some data. But what I can do again is I can say something like assign this error to Youssef.Zouhairi@celigo.com, right? So this is a user. So I'm a user here. So it will ask me, okay, do you want to assign this to Youssef Zouhairi? Yes, I will accept this, and it should be assigned to me. And this is very similar to basically doing something like this, where you are like going here and trying to assign an error to a user, right? You can at the same time do like assign tags for like a number of errors. Let's suppose that we have here not like one error, but maybe we have 300 errors. Some of them are very similar to this one. Some others are very different. So if I want to go one by one and like tag errors one by one based on the error message that I see here, this can take me like, it's time consuming. It will take me some time to be able to do all that. What I can do is like I can use Aura, for example, and say any error like this one, please tag it with some tag, and I create like a new tag, and that will make it possible where like it will like select from the 300 errors the, let's say, 255 errors that are like similar to this one and tag them quickly. So you see that this is like it's helping you managing your errors and handling them in a very sophisticated way. So Aura, as I said, it's one thing. So it could be also used for the building. But what I want to show you again, the next is another tool, which is the CLI. So everyone is familiar with the APIs. So we have APIs, comprehensive APIs on top of Celigo, right, to do a lot of things. Now we added the CLI and the MCP. So CLI is more the command line interface so that you can do things with the terminal. MCP is more like if you want to connect your MCP, Celigo MCP, to something like Cloud, and you want to do things on the top, like on the platform itself. Like we have like an MCP for that. So this is very new as well. Let's take a look at the CLI. So the CLI, I mean, for those who were like using the CLI like a long time ago, I think it was for me a lot of like I would say automations, scripts, and all that were using like CLIs. If you are like doing something in the cloud in general, like AWS or Google Cloud, or you need to write a script to automate something, you need a CLI so that you can help with that. So now we've built the Celigo CLI by the Celigo dash help in my PowerShell. You will see that we have like a very long list of things that you can do with the CLI, with the command line interface. You can see, you can like configure profiles. This is if you have like multiple environments for Celigo and you want to separate the environments or separate the accounts. You can have like for account A, you configure it with the token for account A, and then another account for account B with the different token. And then you build like multiple profiles. you can do a lot of things. You can do things for integrations, flows, connections, anything that you usually can do with the APIs, plus other things, you can do them with the CLI. So I will just give you like an example here, integrations, and then list. So if I do this one, I will get like a very long JSON. It's not something that as a human or like someone who's working on integrations, I would be like very enthusiastic to use, right? It's a JSON. I can't make sense of this and understand everything that I have in my JSON. This is why I like to say that the CLI, the main use case for the CLI is for the AI itself, because the AI can make sense of this and can parse this JSON, get the data that needs to be parsed from the JSON and understand what do we have there. So that command line is supposed to show me the integrations, like the list of integrations. So now if I do something like Claude, right? Which is like the agent from Claude, which is Claude Code. I could just in natural language say, list for me all the integrations that I have in Celigo. Uh, this is not my favorite interface, the terminal, the PowerShell. What I like to do is I like to use, Claude Desktop. And I'll show you an example here with Claude Code. Um, so one of the examples here, so you see, you can say what are the scales. I'll show you an example of what we could do with Claude Code plus Celigo CLI. This is the result of like a discussion that I had with one of our customers. The customer is like power user, using like Celigo for a lot of things, and they have a lot of advanced custom scripts in the platform. So the use case that they have was okay. I have let's say 200 integration tiles, and they have tons of scripts. I would like to use the CLI to help me manage those scripts, the Celigo scripts, so that I can pull them and use them, for example, in GitHub. So the question was, how can I like get the latest scripts that were changed and capture that change and maybe push it somewhere else? So we did that live during the session. And you can see like first thing, I asked the question, can you show me the scripts that were modified the last 5 minutes? And Claude Code came back to me and said, do you want like Celigo scripts or any scripts? So I said like, obviously Celigo platform scripts. So he went, ran like a couple of commands like show Celigo scripts list and another one. So, and it came back for me with the script that was changed in the last 5 minutes, which is great. Now, what we did is, okay, now that I have like the script, pull the content of that script and commit it to GitHub. So for those who are like you using GitHub daily, they know that GitHub has also a CLI. So if you configure the CLI, the GitHub CLI in your local machine, now this is like a very simple thing for the Claude Code to do. It will like pull the content and then push that to the GitHub that you are configuring in your local machine. And yeah, so this is just an example. I could like go and do other things like list the integrations, and maybe let's do something else. Like maybe here, let's do something like maybe build a flow that syncs Salesforce contact to NetSuite as contacts, right? And let's do it like with the use basic mapping and have the flow scheduled to be run every 5 minutes. Okay, let's launch this, and we are not going to wait for it to finish, and let's move on to something else. So this is the first aspect of how we see Celigo AI in Celigo. So the first one, as I said, is AI that can help you implement. It's Aura and it's Claude Code or like Codex, whatever you are using, with the help of Celigo CLI. And one, by the way, so these commands that you get here are not delivered only as commands. So once you install the Celigo CLI, you get the skills related to Celigo installed automatically in your laptop. And if I open this, for those who already installed the Celigo CLI in their machines or like local machines, I invite you to go and check this path in your machines. I'm in Windows, so you can see under here you see under users, Youssef Zouhairi, and .celigo, and then indexes. You will see that you have now something called skills. And under skills, you have things like building APIs, building B2B, building flows, MCP servers, tools, AI agents, configuring agents. So all the skills that the CLI or the Claude Code as an agent will use with the help of CLI to do things in the platform. And those are delivered with the CLI itself. Um, by the way, do not hesitate to put your questions down, and maybe we can get to this one, or maybe if you have any questions, we can answer them live. So yeah, that's a very important point because this is the engine. So the CLIs are the tools. The LLM or the agent Claude Code is the brain, right? That go into reason, but that brain needs some knowledge to understand how to do things. That knowledge is actually the skills that we deliver here for you, so that you can do things with the platform.
So Youssef, we do have a couple questions, and I want to make sure too, since this is
Sure.
pretty advanced, that we also get to the agent conversation. But maybe just as a quick question here on the CLI, circle back. Are there any other advantages of using CLI other than speeding development for developers, or are there things that you can only do with CLI but not via Aura? It's Aura versus CLI discussion, basically.
Okay. That's a good discussion. So Aura and CLI have two different approaches to do almost the same thing. Aura is using agents and sub-agents. CLI is using as the engine, whatever agent you are going to use, Claude Code or Codex, depends what is your favorite. My favorite is Claude Code, but it could be like OpenAI. You are like an OpenAI person and you want Codex, that's fine as well. They are using two different approaches, right? There are like things that Aura can do because we have like a specialized agent that can do that thing, but Claude Code with the CLI cannot do, right? And some other things that the CLI can do and Aura is not capable of doing because the Claude Code agent with the CLI is able to do like that feedback loop and get back quickly to what is the best way to achieve the goal. So yeah, in general, if we want to like make it like generate like statement on what is the difference between both, two different approaches, right? They can do almost like 80% the same thing. There are like differences in specific use cases. Hope that makes sense. And for the CLI, for example, it's not only for building. CLI can also be used for troubleshooting. It could be also used for the error management the same way we saw with Aura. It could be used for other use cases. I used it personally for things like, okay, I have like an integration tile here and I want to clone it as is in like another environment. And maybe it was not possible for me, or like I wanted to get like all these details. I could point CLI to my environment and say, understand this integration, get all the assets of this integration, and then use this profile to move this integration to that account. So there are like other use cases other than just building the flows itself.
Yeah. So let's say it's 80% overlap, and then some advanced edge cases where Aura can do certain things and the CLI can do others. But as we an echo there. But as we get more, development, probably more merging there. So maybe, Youssef, what do you think? I think maybe we can circle back for additional questions, but I think it'd be good for us to get going on the agentic workflow building.
Sure.
I know a lot of people are interested in
Absolutely,
learning.
absolutely. So let's move from the first aspect of helping you building and monitoring to the second one, which is like a lot of you, you are parts of organizations or you are partners implementing for other organizations, and you would like to answer the question, how can I use AI in my company or my organization? How can I get the value of the AI? So to answer that question, we have for you some very interesting features that we added. This is like the main agentic, I would say, tool set to build automations around AI using Celigo. So you have things like the tools, and I will touch on what are tools, what is the difference between a tool, an API, and a flow. We have AI agents with an agent builder that helps you build those AI agents on the top of the platform. An agent needs to have tools, right? Needs to have tools to be able to act on your data. So those tools are like the ones that you are going to build at the beginning, or they are like tools available in an MCP server. For those of you who are not very familiar with the MCP server, an MCP server is basically something specific for the agentic world. So it's not for the deterministic one. To be able to consume an MCP server, you need to have an agent. It's an agent that has an MCP client. And then MCP server, it's just like a package where you are like packaging all the tools that can be used at some point by agents, right? So instead of like for every agent, you have like 5 agents. For every agent you implement, I need tool A, tool B, and tool C. This agent two will need like the same tools, ABC for 3, ABC for 4. Instead of doing this, what you do is like you factorize those tools and you put them in a package in a server, and then all the agents, when they need to use those tools to act on your data, they will just call that server and say, okay, MCP server ABC, can you give me what are the list of the tools that you have? And the server will send back to the agent, okay, I have in my server, I have these tools. I have tool A, tool B, and tool C. And then the agent will decide, okay, for what I want to do, I would like to use tool B. Can you send me the description of tool B? How can I use tool B? This is like a protocol, and the server will send back a response saying, to use tool B, you need to send like a parameter and this type of like body request, just an example. And then the agent now has all the information needed to use that tool. And the agent will send that data to get back the response and use that response to keep going in the reasoning. So this is the MCP server. The fourth aspect, which is where we can like differentiate between like prototypes and production ready AI projects, is having like some type of guardrails available in the platform. This is very important again, because if you don't have guardrails, it's simply, I mean, your AI project is not serious, right? It's not production ready. It's not something that can be incorporated in organizations like specifically for enterprise type of organizations. So yeah, so let's touch on the first one, AI agents, and I have an example here. I'm not sure if some of you probably you've seen this before. If not, this is like a very good example. I like to show it because it gives you everything that you need to know about how these AI agents can be used. Acme Chocolatier, this is like a store, chocolate store, selling chocolate, right? This is, by the way, a vibe coded website, totally 100% vibe coded. So the way what we want to achieve in this example here is that we want to provide our customers, in the customers of this store, the experience to be able to do everything and anything orders using just a chatbot, which is like this one, Coco. You see, we have like an assistant, and we want to do anything from tracking what is the tracking the order, the status of the order, the fulfillments, the refunds, the returns, even like help me choose, like for example, something like help me build a chocolate box with like 12 pieces and surprise me with the flavors. So something like this. It's like user experience, the experience of purchasing from the order, from the store. So we want to offer this experience to our customers. There are like two approaches to this. It's either you use the standard old school chatbots, which is like, I will send you this if you get this request, parse it, and send back the response. Or the new approach is like AI agent in the backend. So you see, we got like this one. I will make you 12 pieces and create it for me a 12 pieces box with like some different flavors. So, and I can like iterate on this. And the way this works is that this chatbot has in the backend an AI agent. Let me show you now what that AI agent looks like. So under AI agents, we have like you can create from scratch a new agent. We have an agent builder. The one that we are using here is this one, Acme Chocolatier. So you see, once I click on this one, this is the AI agent builder. Uh, Very similar experience as building flows, building integrations, building connections, the same UI. So first thing that you do is you establish a connection to your brain, the LLM that you are going to use uh, as brain for your AI agent. In our case here, it's OpenAI. So you have two ways. So you can bring your own key, and this is where we are bringing like the token for the OpenAI, right? Or let's say your organization does not have a relationship with OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google Gemini, and you have like a specific use case, you want to use the AI just in that use case, and maybe a flow or a business process where you want to include the AI. Now you can use like Celigo AI, where Celigo is basically reselling the tokens to the end user. So you don't have to have this relationship with OpenAI or Anthropic or Gemini, and we are going to resell the tokens to you, and that's it. And you will be charged for the tokens that you consume. Very similar experience for creating the connection as for anything else that you do in Celigo. Now the connection is online. We select the model, which model are we going to use, and then we provide the instructions. So instructions, things like the personality of our assistant, security, boundaries, expertise, for example, anything that you want to have as main instructions for your agent. The second thing that you will do, because this is like an agent supposed to send back responses, to define what is the output of that agent. In my case, it's JSON because I want to parse that JSON and take just the response. And we get it as like what is the message and the action and the data that we used. So this is maybe the message is the main one because we are going to parse it and send it back as a response. These two, action and data, is more like for the troubleshooting. If you want to see what was the action that the agent took and what is the data that was used for that. So one of the main things for AI agents is to be able to be really efficient is to have like the right tools and capabilities for that AI agent. And this is where you can now add tools and MCP connections. So we have two tools that we get like natively with the AI agent. We have the web search and the image generation. So once you create an agent, this is by default part of your agent. You can just select them and that's it. Now you have other ways, you have like tools, other tools that you can create in Celigo. I will pause here on the AI agent and let's look at the tools, right? So if I click on one of these tools, you'll see this one here, look up revenue. If I click on this tool, what you can see is this is what a tool look like. You get like the input, you get the output, and in the middle, you define your business logic, whatever you want to do. Is it a lookup? Is it like a series of lookups and then something syncing in another system? You define your logic. You get like an input and the output. The main difference between a tool and a flow is that, first of all, the tool has JSON schema controlled input and output. So if I click on this one, you will see that I have, for anyone who wants to use this tool, needs to send account ID as a text. And if you send it as an object, it will not be validated, right? It's controlled by the JSON schema. Same thing for the output. It's like a contract. The output here is an object and it's called revenue and it has like fields as text, account ID, amount, and classification. So this is like a tool. It has input, output. The inputs and the outputs are controlled with a schema. And in the middle, you define your logic. The second difference between this one and a flow, so the flow is asynchronous by nature. It takes time. We have like queues that we use for every step so that we can process and scale without losing data, right? And it takes a little bit of time to process because it's asynchronous. In this one, because we are not supposed, like it's not, when an agent will call a tool, it's really unlikely that the agent will send 10,000 records to that tool at once. Probably the agent will have like one step of reasoning and will want to get like some data. I will like send an account and ID and expect as a response um, the revenue details, for example. So it's not the scalability of it is not really needed. So that's why this one is synchronous. It can be processed like immediately in real time in milliseconds instead of like queuing in here or in every one of the steps that we have here. So I hope that this is like very clear for you and the difference between a tool um, and and a flow. So okay, let's say we selected here the web search. Now let's suppose that we have some MCP server that was created in Celigo, right? I have an MCP server. I created that MCP server for some reason. And then I want to use that MCP server to add like tools to my agent. So if I go to MCP connection, whether the MCP server was created in Celigo or an external MCP server, you can at any time just connect to that MCP server by providing the MCP URI and the authentication, the right authentication way to authenticate to that MCP server. And then once you get that connection established, now you can see the MCP server here in your list. And if I click on it, you will see the tools available for that MCP server. You see here, for example, get order tracking, look up orders by email, create support ticket, and get order by ID. So I selected the 4 tools. And if I go back here, you see we have now 5 tools. One is native, which is the web search, and 4 tools coming from an MCP server. Some other things that you can do, the reasoning, for example, do you want your agent to be able to reason a lot or like maybe just average reasoning? Verbosity, do you want the agent to be verbose and give you a lot of details about everything that is trying to reason through? You can test an agent. You can provide an input, test the agent, and see the trace of the reasoning. You can compare the models. You can add like a third model and say, well, GPT-5 mini, maybe I will use here GPT-5 and GPT-5 Pro, right? And once I have that 5 Pro, I can like compare models and then see the results for the three models, what will be the output, and then see how many tokens were consumed by each model and the latency, which one is the fastest. And based on that, in my use case, I could like decide based on what is important for me. Is it like the latency or the accuracy of the response or maybe the tokens consumed? I can decide which model is the right model for me, for my use case. And I can um, configure, I can go back here and select that model here. So yeah, so if we go back to our example here, if we do something like where is my order? Um, so first thing, when a user will write this in a chatbot, because this is like a chatbot, it needs to have something in the backend to be triggered to run our AI agent, and that thing is actually an API. So we built an API called Acme Chocolatier, and that API, when someone is writing here, where is my order? First thing that will happen, well, we'll send a request to this API. The, the text will be processed by the agent. And then before we send back the response, which is this one, what we are going to do is we are going to run it over like a guardrails. And I will take a moment here to talk about the guardrails. So the guardrails here in Celigo is like, we decided that we are not going to build them as like an input filter or something like it's like a first-class citizen in the platform, something that is very important that needs to be configured correctly so that your AI agent or AI use case can be production ready. So if I click on guardrails here, we have three types of guardrails that we support. First one is the PII. So you have like a confidence threshold, and then you see what are the PIIs that you are like kind of like interested in. I don't know why an agent would be sending credit card numbers or like anything else here. So I can just select all these and say, okay, if my agent is sending one of these, just mask the data, right? It will be masked before it's sent to the end user. The second type of guardrail is the moderation. So the moderation here, I want my agent to be professional, accurate, and on brand and appropriate. So I can, with a confidence threshold, I can like again configure that confidence threshold, decide and maybe like flag the text that the agent will be sending as a response against one of these categories. If my agent is like using one of these categories, like the text is flagged against one of these, we can build a logic around it and say, if it's flagged, then do something like based on that, you can build like a branching or something where you can like handle it the way you want. The third one is a custom one, custom prompt. You are an organization, you have your own like policy, internal policy, and you want to use that internal policy, you can like just bring it here as instructions, and that's it. So if it's not compliant against like the policy that you have, it will flag it again, and you can handle it the way you want. So I want to pause here and see if you have any questions. Does this make sense? Or do we have any questions regarding this? No questions, then we can move to the next part. Okay, so let's, as I said, three aspects for me. The first one, so the AI agent as like a chatbot is one use case. We have other use cases where you can just add the AI or the agent as part of the process. I think one of the use cases that Rico mentioned at the beginning is the account receivable inquiry automation. This is let me show you the old version of it. So we used to have this version. This is like the version that our financial team used to use. You see this flow here. It's basically pulling the emails from like a generic email address, ar@celigo.com, and then we extract all the information about the customer and and then we get that information from NetSuite, and then we get like categorize the text of the email, and based on that we go like with branches. If branch one send bank details, then we pull those bank details and we send them. We create like a draft. If like updates contact details, we go update that again, and we create a draft. You see like drafts at the end of every one of these branches, and then at the end we move that under like some label, so that an account receivable specialist can go and look at those drafts, the original requests, and we keep like a human in the loop, validate and approve what will be sent. So all this, as you can see it here, is replaced now with another way, which is like all that the branch is now just an agent, one agent with multiple tools. So the first part of that flow is almost the same, getting the content and the emails from Gmail, and then we have the agent. And before we send the data to the agent, and I got this question just yesterday, we are using a guardrail. So you will notice that the guardrail here is used before the agent. And in the other example that I showed you for Acme Chocolatier, that AI agent, we have the guardrails after the agent. So the reason is because we want to define what is the data, where we want to have like some type of guardrails. These guardrails are not related only to AI use cases, like a flow where you have like an AI agent. It can be used also in like just a regular flow, standard flow. One of the steps you can like just go here and like add a guardrail. And in the previous step with the Acme Chocolatier agent, we wanted to have some guardrails before we send the response to the end user, whoever is asking the question. Now with this one, what we do is like we want to kind of like filter the data that we are going to share with the agent, because I don't want to share everything in my context to the agent. I don't want to share like some PIIs, things that are coming like from in the email, details that maybe I don't want to get out of my organization because it's not gonna help anyway. So why should I send it? So that's why we have like this guardrail in the front versus like the one after the AI agent. And this agent has like tools, and those tools can act on your data and get invoices, get account statements, get bank details, draft an email. So an AI agent, if like someone is asking, hey, send in an email saying like, hey, account receivable team, can you send us your bank details, Celigo's bank details? This is like a PDF. So the agent will use this get bank details to pull the PDF from like Google Drive, for example, and then use this one to create like a draft email, and then create the draft email with the attachments that we got from here, and then push it as with the label, under the label in our Gmail. And that's it. So it depends on what is the request, the original request in the email. The agent will be able to use all the tools to achieve the goal, right? It doesn't have to be like one tool. It could be like a series of different tools. Use this one first, and maybe this one second, and then this one at the end, or like a different combinations. So yeah, so this is like a very good example of using an agent in a business process flow. So, and after this one, I could like have a response mapping and like keep going with my process. Maybe if we have like other steps that are deterministic, You don't have to put everything agentic in an AI agent. Automation can be done as a deterministic workflow with just the agentic steps needed, the agentic part in the middle. So that's the case here. So you can, this is deterministic, the way we are pulling the data from Gmail. The way we are processing it is agentic, but at the end of the flow, it could be also deterministic. Maybe once we send that or we draft that email, we want to do like a couple of other steps in that flow in a deterministic way, because we know that every time, whenever we deal with this business process, is going to be exactly the same thing. So, and again, using like AI, sometimes it's like it's expensive because sometimes you will need to use like tokens and all that, and it's good sometimes to have like a combination between deterministic and agentic steps. So the last and aspect that I want to talk about, if you don't have any other questions, I think I see a question from Kevin here. Are these agents available pre-built for us to customize, or I would need, yeah. So some of them are available in the marketplace, right? Some others, I think if you do here, OpenAI, you will see that we have some examples. We are working on adding all the agents to the marketplace. Whenever we build something for ourselves, for our company, or like we see like something that our customers are using, we want to put it here as a template. But every company, every organization has their own business processes and the way they are doing things. So you can at any time like build your own AI agent here, and build the combination, the flow, the MCP servers that the agent will use the way you want. So talking about the MCP server before I get to the third aspect. So if you look at this, so you can create like an MCP server here from scratch. I can like give it a name, point to give it like a slash. So you see here, this is going to be my URI slash Celigo int, and then I can do something like this, Youssef MCP. Not very innovative, but yeah, this is my MCP URI, and then I give it a name, and then add my tool. So if I do add, I can again either add like tools from the list of tools. I can add from APIs that I built in Celigo, right? You see, like for example, this one here, Order Master. It's a very it's a collection of APIs that you've built for a website that we are using. It's called Order Master, and then we can use and package all these APIs under like one MCP server. I will give you like an example that I think it's a very relevant one. So you see here, for example, here we have Salesforce NetSuite MCP. If I click on this one, I give it a name, Salesforce NetSuite MCP, 4 tools, very basic ones, get the invoices, get accounts from Salesforce, get opportunities from Salesforce, and then create like accounts in Salesforce. So because this is built in Celigo, I can like secure it with a token, or if you have like users in Celigo, you can add users to Celigo. In Celigo, we don't charge with the number of users that you add. So you can add all the users that you have in your organization, and then secure that MCP server with the airbag, with the role-based access that we have in the user management, so that they can see just that MCP server, or like you give them the permissions to see whatever you want as an admin. And then to be able to access the MCP server, they will have to authenticate against Celigo, so that they can add the MCP server whatever they want, whether it's something like Claude or ChatGPT or a custom agent. So I will give you an example, show you how we are using this one in Claude Code, for example. I think I have an example here. I just was running it the other day. So if you look at this one here, I have under connectors the Salesforce NetSuite MCP. Let me make this one here. and maybe here, this one, like this side, and this one on the other side, just so that we can see both tools. So, okay, so one of the things that we can do here is that by adding this MCP server, I could like now chat with my data that I have in Salesforce and NetSuite, but in a very controlled way, because whatever permissions I have in Salesforce and NetSuite that are available in these tools, like for example here, the way I'm building this tool, this API, those are the ones that I will be using here. So if I do something like show me Salesforce accounts with Acme in their names, so it tried at the beginning to use the CLI, and then it said like use the MCP for that. So, and you see that it found like that I have an MCP configured in my cloud, and I got like get Salesforce accounts, which is this one, this tool. This is the name of the tool. And then this is the second one, the second request where it sent the right query parameter to get the data back. And we got like the data back, and we got like Acme builders, some details about that customer or like account. And then I could like iterate on it and say, no, show me the opportunities related to this account. Same thing, try to find how to use to get this information, and found like the right tool, which is the get Salesforce opportunities, and then sent the request, got back the response, and visualized that response for me. In my opinion, for whoever wants to have some kind of like, let's say, value from AI, this is a quick win. This is something that you can build today easily and say that you are using AI and you get like value from AI. You are implementing an AI use case for your company. It needs just an MCP server to be built in Celigo. Build the tools based on your business users. If your business users are like all employees, I mean, maybe they don't need all the tools. They don't need to have the whole MCP server for NetSuite or the whole MCP server for Salesforce. They need specific tools that they will need for their work. And one of them here is basically get all this, get the accounts and opportunities. So you can build this today and get value from it immediately. That's regarding the MCP. Do we have any questions regarding this, or do we have any other questions in general?
Youssef, there are a bunch of questions. I was thinking maybe we could go through them from the top of the list at the end of the presentation, if that's okay.
Okay, sounds good. So let's
Okay.
finish the presentation first, and then we can touch on that. So the third aspect of AI, in my opinion, is very important for any organization serious in implementing AI, is to prepare the foundation. So it's very good that you have access to the business systems using Celigo, but sometimes you need to clean out your data, and this is where data ingestion is very important. So a sync is one thing. I'm not sure if you have already this available in your accounts. This is like a new product that we just released, data ingestion. You can click on this and like create a sync. It's a sync is basically, it's different from a flow. A sync is a wizard that can help you build a sync between business system, and a data warehouse. It could be Snowflake or NSAW right now. And we are adding other data warehouses and data lakes for the next and future releases. So you created a sync is you basically point to what is your business system. Let's say it's a NetSuite, right? I can just click on NetSuite, select connection. Let's use this one. So you have two ways to pull the data from NetSuite. So you have saved searches, or exports that you've built already for other flows. And this one will be able to give you the possibility to pull all the objects that you have in your saved searches or exports. The good thing with the sync and data ingestion is that we can detect automatically the schema drift. So let's suppose you are today building a flow, uh, pulling like data from a saved search to a data warehouse. In the future, for some reason, for business reasons, you change that saved search from the number of fields that you have there, and you add like a new field. If you keep your flow as is, um, you might have a problem where when you are like integrating that data into the data warehouse, because you will need to add the field or the column in your data warehouse table. So today with this possibility like schema drift policy, you can configure already what will happen in that data warehouse if a new field was added. And I think in our example in Celigo, we are using this for syncing Salesforce data into like our Snowflake. And we had like, I think something like 190 changes for records in like a month in Salesforce. So imagine if you have to keep up with changing the schema in the data warehouse every time. So with this tool, and this solution, this is like it's a solved problem, because we detect that change and we can automatically adjust and adapt the destination, which is like the table or in the schema on the table where you are going to send the data and sync it in your data warehouse automatically. So as I said, it works with any business as a source with any business system, and as a destination today with Snowflake and with NSAW. This is like just a sneak peek. I don't want to get too much into the details, but this is like I'm very excited about this, because this is going to build the foundation for any company who wants to build the foundation for the AI. Clean up the data, the business data, putting it in like some type of data warehouse, and then use the AI agent to pull the data from those data warehouses and data lakes, so that they can do things with that data. Okay, so having said that, I think that was all what I had to present today. Um, I'm not sure if you have questions. Maybe I will stop sharing and we can look at
Yeah.
the questions that we have today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Youssef. That was really awesome and very enlightening. So I'm going to start at the top of the list and I'll read off the questions for you. So
Sure.
Bushan asked, if we deploy one or more of these pre-built AI templates in production, how do we measure usage? How do we ensure we're not exceeding token usage across multiple users in the company? What other concerns should be addressed when deploying these templates?
Yes, this is a good question. I think under subscriptions, we track this the AI token usage. I'm not sure if I have it in my account, but yeah. So we yeah, the AI credits. I think it's here. Let me share my screen. If I'm understanding very well the question from Bushan. Hi Bushan. By the way, Bushan is like
Old
I
friend.
learned a lot from Bushan. Just to say, yeah. So you can see here the AI agent actions and credits. So we are tracking this everything related to the AI in your subscription. So you will have that information as well.
Do we know right now? So I had heard early on, like earlier this month and last month, that anything that's built, any agents that are built now that are using Celigo
Mhm.
LLM connections, then it'll be kind of grandfathered in, and there will be then potentially future charges for using Celigo's LLM access. Can you talk about that at all, or is it too early to be able to talk about that?
Yeah, no, glad to give some shed some lights on this one. I don't have all the details about the pricing for the future thing. I'm not sure, Peter, if you have that there, but what I know is that anything that you build right now in Celigo until the end of June, it's going to stay in your account and you will not be charged for that at all. So for the future. Uh, After that, so anything that will be built, I think, after the end of June, then there will be some charges or ways of like kind of like charging on. Obviously, in the world of AI, it's very, very difficult to have like a pricing model where you are not charged about some aspects of the AI because everything is tokens and unfortunately we have like a couple of like maybe three, four AI companies that are like they have their own models and everyone is like just using those models as the brain. So you will end up anyway somehow be charged for those tokens. So yeah. Anything to add here to Peter?
No, Youssef, that was great. That's about what I know as well. Formal pricing will be rolled out in July. But as Youssef mentioned, we're making it very favorable for partners, customers to build agents in the meantime. Yeah.
So everybody, the moral of the story is go build as many AI functions as you can in the next 6.5 days, so that they're
Yes.
grandfathered in.
Right.
It's not a lot of time, but that's really good to know. I think that
Absolutely.
answered. Yeah, I think that answered the next question too, which is from Ron. I think my biggest question would be on cost or connecting to AI in Celigo. Would this be another endpoint or an endpoint for each connection to AI? That's a great question. Do these if you bring your own AI, is that an endpoint?
What do you mean by if you bring your own AI, so it means open it. So I don't have all the details about the pricing, unfortunately, but I believe that there will be like a different pricing model for the AI things, especially if you are using AI in an agent versus like using an open AI endpoint to do something specific for the open AI. You see what I mean? So if you
Yeah.
have a flow and you add like an OpenAI endpoint because you want to do like an API call for OpenAI, it's a little bit different from like using an agent and using the connection to OpenAI. So it's two different pricing model, but this is a good question. We will take this offline and get all the details, and maybe we can get back to you maybe by email, maybe a follow up to this session with all the needed information about the pricing in general.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we can post it on the connective too. We have a thread for this meeting, and we can maybe have some information there as well. The next question is from Banu. Can Celigo handle real-time sub-second event-driven processing, or is it purely batch scheduled based?
Uh, so this is for which use case exactly? So if we want real time, I think we have like webhooks that can be configured with in a flow. And then the webhooks can call an AI agent. So is it like in general or AI specific?
It looks like he may not have Banu may not be here, be on the meeting anymore. I would say maybe AI related to AI specific, I guess.
Yeah, so with the AI, there is always like some latency because you are like doing like a lot of calls to the LLM and then get back with the response. But having said that, it depends again. This is why we have that tool to define which model is the best when it comes to the latency. You can test that and see which one is like sub second for you, milliseconds, for example, and use that model if that's the most important thing for you. Um, so it depends on which model are you using and how complex is the task that you want the agent to be doing. So obviously, if the agent is like calling an MCP server, so it's another hop to the MCP server to get the list of the tools, get back how the tool is working, and then gets that information. So it's extra information. If you build it like as a tool in Celigo and you use just the tools, I believe it's faster. Also, like the AI agent will, if the task is complex and the AI agent needs to be doing like a lot of reasoning to get the answer, so that will be needs to be counted as well. So it differs from like different use cases and what you are trying to build. That's my answer.
Okay, sounds good. Next question was, do we need to install Celigo in PowerShell, or in general, how do they, this is related to the CLI. So how do they use the CLI in
I think
general?
we have in that portal developer CLI here. So you have like a quick start on how to install the CLI. So you can you can install it in PowerShell or in a command line. It could be also like just a command prompt. It doesn't have to be PowerShell or like terminal if you are using my Mac, for example. But just follow this. If you are facing any issues, please do not hesitate to use connective.celigo.com. This is like our community, internal community. We keep an eye on it. And if you have any questions regarding like or facing some issues, just let us know, and we would be more than happy to try to help you.
Awesome. The next one we already answered. Next question is, is CLI is like an LLM model if we are comparing it to Aura, not like an MCP server? Does that make sense?
Which means the CLI is like an LLM model. So the CLI is just actually the CLI for Celigo. Those are like just these the commands needed to be able to do things. So it's not AI related, really. The only aspect of it that is AI related are the skills that we've built for it, right? These skills. Now, once you have these skills plus the tools to be able to do things, OpenAI or Anthropic Claude Code, they can do very good job in using those tools. And let's go back. By the way, we did not see this. I did not mention where I want to develop it to make it currently. Let's use anyone. This one. Yeah. So so you see that once I had like the original prompt, the one that we've built, first thing that it ran was the skill, Celigo CLI building flows. This skill has all the details needed for the LLM, which is like it's not actually just the LLM, it's the LLM plus the agent, which is like Claude Code. It has all the details so that Claude Code will be able to use all the Celigo CLI command line interface to be able to do that. So, and now once I defined all what I needed, I think it started like building that integration that I want to have, and it keeps going. So the CLI is just a tool for Claude Code, who is the agent, to be able to control and manage components in Celigo the right way. If you add on the top of them the skills, Claude Code now will have not only the knowledge that was trained on, but also some extra knowledge that we provided Claude Code, which is like the skills, how to build a flow, how to build a flow for B2B, how to build a flow for like with an AI agent, how to configure an AI agent. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. All right, next one we answered after that is, how do we go back and trace each execution or action of the flow or agent, and where are the logs retained?
Yeah, so the agents have their own logs, right? So you can see so actually the agents themselves, so you can have like multiple things here. I hope I have an example of production. Let's see. Uh, Executive. Yeah. So for this one, if I go to the logs for the history, I could see in the execution logs, which is like a very nice useful thing. So Celigo AI, I could see under this one, I could see the reasoning behind what the agent was doing. These are the instructions, and this is the response. So you can see that the agent called this tool, lookup customer account. It was completed. You can get all the details of the tool. So it called the tool with this and got back with this output. And then we can see the reasoning that the agent did. So calling the customer account, I need to call to call the function. You have like a visibility of how the agent was reasoning to get the response. And this is like the body and the usage, and it's answering as well the token question and all that stuff. So for this task, the agent used like 1,352 input tokens, and output was like 1,060, and you got like all these details about the usage and the cost. So you get like a visibility needed with the help of execution logs. Does that make sense? If you want more details, you can like have another level of details by going like if you are using an AI agent with an MCP server, you can go and not here. Well, let's see. Updated. So you can at any time go to the MCP server and see view request logs. And you will see for the MCP server what was the input and the output for every request that MCP server received. I think that covers the AI agents part and the MCP server part.
So follow up to that, is there any limitation based on account tier for the availability of those logs?
Good question, because whoever needs, they need to have the execution log, the advanced one. This is like usually, I don't know exactly what is the edition needed for this, but you will need to have the execution log so that you can see the reasoning behind it. I think I'm not sure. So in that flow that I showed you earlier, which is this one, I think what I did is we have like under settings, not settings, but here, change log mode, I have it as detailed login. And this is like a feature we added, I think, in the recent months, where you can have an advanced level of login to be able to visualize a lot of things in Celigo in the execution of your flows.
Awesome. That's great to know. Okay, next question, we'll move on, is do we need to build an MCP server anytime we want to build or use an agent?
No, you don't need to build an MCP server. You can build just tools and use those tools by your agents. And tools can be built in Celigo itself.
Okay, cool. And then next question, what falls under the definition of a tool? Is it always an API built using the API builder in Celigo, or it can be an external API call, or can it be anything else?
Again, it's a great question. The difference is that, so if we go back to that account, so if you are using an AI agent, you can actually, so you have two ways to do that. So you can build the API like for example, here, there's an API to get the inventory for a product in real time. I built my API. This API is very useful. I use it with a lot of partners and vendors. I can package that and add it to an MCP server, add to MCP server. And when I add it to an MCP server, you see that I have it already under order master. That MCP server now can be used with an AI agent. So you see MCP server. I click on this. You have all the APIs, right? The thing is that you can add an API to an MCP server or a tool. So I guess the best way to do this is like if you have already like an API built for some use case that you were already using for your company, you can just reuse that API as an MCP server and add it as a tool to your AI agent. But if you are building that for the first time and you know that this is going to be used only for that AI agent, it's better that you build it as a tool. Like you build a tool and then you can add it to the AI agent. So to answer your question, whether it's an API built with the API builder or a tool, both of them can be added to the AI agents. Both of them can be added to MCP servers. It just depends on what do you want to use. And I guess I think for the APIs, there is like a limit, I guess, on it depends on the licensing again, how many the maximum number of API calls that you have per month, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. It just kind of depends on your use case, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I see Rico join. So Rico, I'm not sure if you have like any details. We got like a question about the pricing for the future.
Yeah, I saw that the pricing question was asked. I'm going internally to get a little bit of the details with the product team to see if we can get this answered.
Okay.
But I don't know the answer specifically myself.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah, that
great.
was exactly what we said. So we will get more details and get back to the team for the follow-up.
Let's look at the next question. Have you guys come across any common EDI use cases for agents?
For agents, you mean the AI agents in the platform? If that's the case, yes. I think one of them is what Rico mentioned during his presentation is, so, if you are like a sophisticated big company, you are working with a lot of trading partners, you might have the possibility to have like an AS2 connection and build all that ADI, get like the file or like as an FTP, you pull the file and then you parse it ADI and you sync it. But sometimes you don't get these B2B orders from these big sophisticated trading partners. You get like from pop and mom shops and like small companies, and they send the orders by email. So, and it's considered like B2B. So how do you want to parse that? It's basically you get like that email, you use the AI agent so that you can read the email and build from it the order so that you can sync it to your ERP. If we are talking about EDI itself, I think the main use case that I've seen is not related to the AI agent. The AI agent as like the component that we have in the AI studio, but it's more like
I don't want to interrupt if you're on another call.
Yeah, it's more like the using CLI, Celigo CLI to build these flows and configure the what they call it, the file definitions for rules for the EDI part. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think building the file definition rules or configuring them is probably the biggest, the most amount of time needed, in building an EDI integration would be really great to apply. CLI or Aura maybe to helping with some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming up on time here pretty quick. Next question is, are there any plans to launch an AI specific course in Celigo University? Architecting AI enabled flows, considerations, use cases, best practices. Also, have existing dev courses been updated with how to build using these new AI resources like tools, guardrails, etc.?
I will need to check with our university team and get back on this one, unless if Peter or Rico have any insights on this one. But yeah, I can again provide this information as a follow-up.
Yeah, and I can say I have been through the AI Studio course in Celigo University, and it's pretty high level. I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity for more in-depth, kind of like what we went through today. Like this was, I think, really, a lot deeper than what I've seen in Celigo University so far. But I don't know. Does anybody else know if there's plans for deeper AI university courses?
Yes, the most recent information I have, because it's changing every week with how the pace of things, but according to our Celigo University team, the Builder Pro, so the Celigo certification through Celigo University will have a large AI focus coming out in Q3 here, just around the corner. So that's forthcoming. The AI courses in Celigo U, there's also going to be additional courses being rolled out as well. And then the other detail I have, there's a badge for building an agent plus the bootcamp option through Project Mercury. I don't know if anyone has taken part in the agent bootcamp, but more to come there as well. We piloted a session and it was very successful. Just rave reviews from the people that were able to participate in that. So we're definitely planning on rolling out more.
Yeah, it seems that Katie already used that bootcamp. She said it was good bootcamp. So yeah, I'm glad that was helpful.
Awesome.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Next question, can Celigo Ora recommend optimizations to a flow? For example, a high data volume flow that's been running slower than before. Can Ora recommend an optimization like reduce batch size or increase concurrency? That's a great question.
I'm not sure. It should be possible with Aura to have this type of optimizations. I know that we Aura can offer. So the reason why I had some doubts in my response is that the second part, which is like when asking about like specifically batch size and increasing concurrency, I'm not sure about that part. But I know that Aura can provide like a generic recommendations on optimization of like how to design like the flow, what things needs to be done. But again, it's a very good question. Thank you, Bouchard, for the question. So I will ask our internal team who's like handling Aura and see if this capability is part of it.
Yeah, that would be really nice if it did. I mean, there's the dreaded script time execution error that, we get. I think it comes from NetSuite. I've seen it quite a bit, especially like during the holidays for increased traffic on e-commerce sites and things like that. It would be nice to be able to have Aura help troubleshoot those things. Okay, last question that we have here is, does AI in Celigo have context? So this is back to the EDI concept. Does AI in Celigo have context of file definitions to be used for EDI transactions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that this is like one of the limitations that we have. There are some workarounds. I just heard one yesterday from one of our services team members. It's basically that team member is like downloading kind of like the trading partners file definitions needed for specific trading partners and using them as knowledge base that the AI agent that the CLI can use during the build. Having said that, I'm sure, so this is like one of the things that our product team is already aware of, and I'm working with them closely to close this loop when it comes to be able to provide the file definitions as an API using the CLI for the Celigo CLI and Cloud Code, for example.
Okay. Yeah, I think all of these EDI processes are ripe for some AI automation, which I'm sure is coming down the pipe here.
Yep.
All right. So with that, I think we're gonna call it for the day. We're at the top of the hour here. So thank you everybody for attending. This was, I think, for me personally, a fantastic information and gave me a lot more insight. I hope you all got some value out of it as well. Thank you, Rico, Youssef, Peter, everybody from Celigo for attending and participating. This meeting is recorded. It'll be posted on the website, celigousergroup.com. I will also post a link in the connective. And then if you have any follow-up connection or questions, the connective is really a fantastic place to ask other users. And I know that Tyler from Celigo is always on top of those hard to answer questions in the connective and helping everybody out. So with that, we'll call it a day. Thank you for attending. We hope to see you at the next user group meeting. Have a great rest of your day.
That's good. Thank you.